Welcome everybody to our annual kindergarten readiness event. This is something we feel is very important for our families to have in their knowledge before sending their children off to kindergarten. And we are very thankful to partner with the Glen Ellyn Public Library to present this to you virtually. And our two speakers this evening are from our two local school districts, North Glen Ellyn, District 41. We have Dr. Katie McCluskey, who is the curriculum and instruction, superintendent for teaching, learning, and accountability, bigger words, and Principal Mitch Dubinsky of Briar Glen, which is in the South District, which is District 89. We thank them so much. This is of their own free time to do this with us, and we thank Katie Almendinger from the library, and we'd like to get started with our program with Principal Dubinsky and Dr. McCluskey.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we really just want to give you some of the important details that we know all of our kindergarten families are looking to understand and know about how to prepare your children best for entering kindergarten within our schools. One of the main questions that we hear from parents is, what can I do to help my child prepare for kindergarten? And a lot of that work can start right now while the children are at Westminster. So read with your children, make sure that that's something that's a practice within your home. Encourage independence. Make sure that you're going on, whoops, it's
sorry.
On.
Yeah, we're on the wrong slide. So this is your slide. Sorry, back up.
Sure. So we'll talk about skills first on what we're looking for children to be able to do independently as they're entering kindergarten. One thing that we're looking for is for students to be practicing their fine motor skills. So having them practice holding a pencil, having familiarity with scissors. Let them practice zipping and buttoning their coats or their jackets or their shirts. Also practicing tying their shoes, making sure that that's something that they can do independently. As you're reading with your children at home, let them be turning the pages so that they know the right way to turn the pages in a book. And also practicing opening containers and packages. We also look for our students to be able to practice their gross motor skills. And that's something that they're doing right now while they're in preschool, but having them practice sitting up on a carpet and maintaining their personal space from other students, as well as carrying their own backpack. So if students are not carrying their own backpack now, that's something to start practicing between now and the end of the school year, is having students carrying their own materials and their own backpacks to school. Practicing asking and answering questions with adults. Sometimes students get nervous around people that they don't know. And when they're in school, we want them to feel comfortable asking and answering questions from adults. Potty training is something that we look for as students are entering kindergarten, as well as being able to put on their own coat and jacket. While they're in kindergarten and in preschool, we're also looking for them to be practicing sharing with others, cooperative play, taking turns, and following directions. So those are things that we look for them to have some independence with as they're entering kindergarten, but certainly something that we're practicing throughout the entire year.
Okay, ready to move on?
Sure.
All right. Okay, well, what's important for me to do to help my child be prepared for kindergarten? So one thing is such an easy thing for everyone to do is read with your child. Read with them. Ask them questions while reading. And just like Dr. McCluskey said, allow them to turn the pages. So you're encouraging them to be more and more independent as you are just simply reading to them. What color is this on the page? Who is the character in this page? So not only reading with them, but really just allowing them to explore the book on their own too. What's the title? Who's the author? Who's the illustrator? Just really simple text features that you can really help your child be engaged while reading to them, because kindergarten teachers really enjoy reading books to them. In the library, it's the same thing. So they really enjoy reading books. So read to your child. Going to that encouraging independence. Allow them to be independent. I know it's hard sometimes because it's so much easier as parents just to do something for them, but allow them to go in the other room and get the Kleenex box, have them set the table, right? So things like that where they're able to be independent is really important, that you can help them as they prepare for kindergarten. Some of my favorites, right, is, experience things with them, right? The simple things, especially during COVID right now, believe it or not, there are some simple things we could still do, like going for walks, right? Letting them play outside, counting and sorting objects. When you're cleaning up in the house and you're having them put away their toys, let them count, help them sort, put cars in one area, trucks in another area, dolls in one area, their clothing in another area. So allow them to kind of do that. Again, as I said earlier, look for those colors and shapes. When you're at the grocery store, oh my gosh, what color is that? What shape is this box? So those are really great skills as they enter kindergarten. Here's my favorite. Okay, this is play games with them. Don't always let them win. They have to learn sometimes. They can't always win. So my own children know that I'm pretty competitive. So a game of Monopoly can get pretty serious. So make sure you take a seat back sometimes and let them do their thing. But also, again, remember, winning isn't always everything, but sometimes when you constantly let them win, they feel that way. Ask your child about their day. What did they do today? And if they say, well, I played, well, follow up with other questions. Well, what did you play? I played on the playground. Oh, well, who did you play with? So those really innocent questions really do help them as they get older into emergent readers and emergent thinkers, really. Establish routines. Kids really like routines. So that bedtime is serious business when you start kindergarten. Morning routines, getting dressed, brushing teeth. I mean, all those things are major routines. Hello, people, COVID, washing hands is important. Make sure they know how to thoroughly wash their hands for sure. And then just overall those self-help skills. Allow them to get dressed. I think Dr. McCluskey said it earlier, letting them zip their coats. But all those things really do encourage and foster independence.
So within our schools, we really love our parents to be involved and be within our schools on a daily basis whenever possible. And so we ask that parents join the PTA and be involved in the events within our schools. We also love our parents to attend parent-teacher conferences so that you can get to know your child's teacher and also know your students' strengths, as well as the areas that they're continuing to work on, so that we have that homeschool connection. Whenever we have school events, we love to see our students and our parents there, as well as volunteering within our schools whenever possible. Both of our school districts do have parent education opportunities where you can learn more about things such as the school report card, conferences, our run, hide, fight drills, school safety. Those are all events that we have within our districts that we love our parents to participate in so that we can continue to be partners in your children's education. And then whenever you have a question, we always ask that you reach out to the teachers. Our teachers in both districts are all very warm and welcoming and encourage that communication with our parents. So anytime you have a question, we ask that you reach out to your child's teacher. If they don't know the answer, they will lead you in the direction of where you can find that answer. And oftentimes that would be reaching out to your school principals.
All right, now we get to that social emotional piece. This has really developed over the last, handful of years that, we teach the whole child. And so these parts are really important in that essential part in kindergarten. In the classroom, we really is a community, as that slide says, really creating opportunities for peer relationships. Cooperative groupings throughout the kindergarten years are super important. We do a lot of team building. Also, focusing on that conflict resolution, being self-aware and being understanding that, gosh, the choice I made probably wasn't the best choice. Learning to listen. Following directions is huge, right? Because as school gets further and further along, you get those multi-step directions, right? So really also encourage your children to follow those directions, and more, don't just give them one direction, give them, follow-up directions too, so they can do that. We have wonderful social workers in our district, and they come in the classrooms and they talk about emotions, right? The zones of regulation. What are you feeling? Are you frustrated? Are you angry? Are you disappointed? That's the best way to really get to a child, to really help understand what their feelings are, so we can help those solving the problems. Again, building resiliency, and just developing fair ways to play, and just invitations to play. Tell your child to, ask a friend to play. Yes, there are many kids that like to play by themselves, right? But when a child approaches them to play, tell them that that's okay, let's go play. And sometimes they may not want to play a game that their other friends are playing, and that's okay too. But that social emotional piece, and really helping them become truly self-aware of their feelings, their boundaries, are really important. Because again, just as much as we truly focus on academics, reading and math and science and socializing and all that, that social emotional piece is huge. It really is important.
On these next few slides, we're going to be talking about the core content areas within our kindergarten program, which consist of literacy, math, social studies, and science. For literacy, both districts do take a balanced literacy approach, meaning that we focus on comprehension, phonics, sight word recognition, and writing in all of what our students do throughout the day. Oftentimes our parents will ask, but what level is my child at? Is my child reading at grade level? So you will receive a copy of this PowerPoint, and there are links within the PowerPoint that will give you some additional information. So Mitch, if you could click on the FMP, end of year kindergarten, this will share with you what you can expect and the types of questions that your child will be asked within text. As you can see, in kindergarten, we're looking for students to read at about the D level by the end of kindergarten. So please know that is not what we're expecting them to come in at. That's what we're aiming for them to be at by the end of kindergarten. So when you're reading text with your child, you can ask questions, and there's some questions here as samples that you can take them through in a story to help practice those skills at home, as well as what we're doing to practice within the school. You'll see on, I believe it's the next page, there's a list of different books. By no means are we asking that you go to the library and start checking out all of these book titles. These are just sample books that your children may or may not experience within our schools. And it gives you an idea of the level we're looking for them to be at by the end of kindergarten, starting first grade. Again, this is not what we're looking for them to come in at. And I think that the most important piece is that F&P levels, so Fontes and Pinnell leveling, does not define your child as a reader. It is just where they're at a point in time, and it helps teachers to determine their next steps in instruction and literacy for your child, and how we can best support them to move forward to reach that level by the end of kindergarten. So that is something that is always changing. Students have instructional levels as well as independent levels that they're reading at. And this is just a guide of where we, hope for them to be by the end of kindergarten. Mitch, you can go ahead to the next slide.
Yeah, so math. Math is great in kindergarten. It's super hands-on, a lot of manipulatives, a lot of small projects, but really these lessons really reinforce what they're learning. And then what's nice about, especially kindergarten, they may learn a little something now, and then they come back to it later to kind of help reinforce. So that repetitive piece too is really huge. Listen, leaving kindergarten is about numeracy, right? Just like, in kindergarten is about that, just that literacy and learning to read. Well, you're learning to count, right? Eventually you change that. But at the end of the day, it's anytime you can have your child practice math is really great. Letting them understand what numbers are and the relations to what and how you use it. The best way too is to connect math to real life situations, even at kindergarten. It really it is really great. I mean, here's, I guess, some. Let me actually go back because I forgot that I had the video already queued up. Right? Isn't this where it was, Dr. McCluskey? This one? Okay. So there's kind of a nice video on math and some activities to do. So here we go.
Young children are naturally
You can hear it?
curious about math. Instilling a love for math.
You can hear it, but they can't see it.
For establishing a
They can't see it. Okay, hold on. Oh, I bet you because I wasn't in the share screen. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay.
My job is to make
Sorry.
college easy.
Let's get
because
that in a
students
second.
have a lot.
young children are naturally curious about math.
Uh-oh.
It's just spinning right now.
Spinning? That's what it was doing earlier.
Of course, it was
I
all
wish I had
working
enough
right
time to
before we
cover
came
everything,
on.
But I don't,
Yeah,
so I'm gonna pick out.
of course. Let's give it that one old try one more time.
Young children are naturally curious about math.
And we will not try it again.
Almost there. But everybody
Yeah.
does have access to the link. So if you are interested in how you can better support your children with math at home, that is a link that you'll be able to access even after we're done tonight. So a lot of parents are wondering, what are those math skills that are taught in kindergarten? And please know, when you look at this list, these are things that we're looking for students to accomplish by the end of their kindergarten year. So certainly not what they're expected to come in with, more of what we're practicing throughout the school year. So those that are listed with the with the green squares are our major cluster skills. And so those are the main focus of what we're looking for our students to be working on within kindergarten. So back to what Mitch was saying about anytime you can practice these in the grocery store or when you're walking or when you're driving somewhere, the better off our students are going to be. So students practicing their counting and knowing how to count in a sequence. Counting to tell the number of objects. So if they have blocks at home, that they're counting clusters or groups of blocks, or the amount of red blocks compared to blue blocks. And understanding that when you're adding blocks or taking away from, that's changing the number. It's either increasing that number or it's making that number smaller. And really working within those numbers 11 to 19 comes towards the end of the kindergarten year, where they're really practicing their teens. Those 11 to 19 numbers. And then the rest of those skills there are your supporting skills and the additional skills that they're working on. But the ones that we focus on the most are the ones that you'll see there with the green boxes. Go ahead to the next slide, Mitch.
Okay. All right. So then we get into science and social studies. A lot of times this is integrated in the math and literacy throughout the week. So it's not necessarily, okay, it's science time, right? So sometimes we incorporate the science in the reading and social studies, science and math. So it really is a great opportunity to truly integrate those subjects. And the other piece is specials. Kindergartners just love They love art and they love music and they love PE, running around. And then our LMC, which is our libraries, have truly been just reinvented over the last handful of years to really allow kids to have so much more access to different types of makerspace type of opportunities where kids really truly create and start coding at such a young age. We have so many great opportunities for the kids to do that in the library that if anyone remembers library in our days, it's going to the library and pretty much checking out a book using that good old card catalog. It is absolutely revamped. So the kids really do enjoy going into the library as well. So really great time with our specials in art, music, PE, and then into the library too, and integrating our science and social studies into daily activities throughout the week.
And I think this is the $1 million question that everybody has and is on everybody's mind almost daily now, is really what will next year look like? And to be really transparent, we don't know what it will look like. We have thought 1 million times that it was going to look different, and 1 million times it has been different. But please know that districts are in discussion about this now. We base all of our guidance off of the CDC and the DuPage Health Department. Also, we look at the Illinois State Board of Education guidance to determine our next steps based on what's occurring within the pandemic. Also, both districts work really hard on our vaccine clinics to make sure that we're offering those within our communities. We're following the guidance on masking that comes from obviously the state guidance as well as the DuPage Health Department. And then also our testing. So both districts are using the saliva screening testing right now within our schools that parents can opt into if they choose to do so. And all of those things are dependent on kind of what happens with the pandemic and where the guidance goes. Both districts do keep our families in the know about this. As soon as we know something, it is communicated immediately to our families so that they're aware as well.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with, this is the next $1 million question is my child ready for kindergarten? At the end of the day, that is absolutely 100% a personal family decision. That doesn't mean you shouldn't reach out to your schools and kind of have that conversation. Well, this is where my child is at. But really, we do provide following to all our students is routines and schedules, right? Communication and collaboration with our families, interventions and additional supports when students need it. If a student comes in at a higher functioning level, we teach to that child. If they come at a lower skill set, we teach to that child, right? And then the resources in our schools, both districts have a plethora of resources. We're very, very fortunate. And the resources we have truly does meet individual needs. We work really hard for that. We talk about students all day and every day to meet their needs. At the end of the day, there is no clear-cut picture on what a kindergartner looks like. There just isn't. We all have our own experiences. You're like, well, my son or daughter was born in July. Do you think they're ready for kindergarten? So we get those questions all the time. And what I can tell you is we absolutely provide support regardless of birth date, maturity, skill set, whatever that might look like. We absolutely feel that we meet individual needs. Again, whether someone is coming in a little bit more advanced, or some kids are coming in with a little bit more need of skills. Again, both districts have a plethora of support.
Both districts do have registration opening next month. For District 41, the registration is beginning on February 16th. And then for District 89, it is going to be opening on February 10th. We do ask that parents register as soon as possible. The sooner we know that your child is coming to kindergarten, the better prepared we are as a system for the number of kindergartners that will be attending our schools. Within the PowerPoint, there is also a link to each of our districts' news You can register, or you can click on that now and sign up. That will give you all of the district news moving forward. You do not have to be registered in order to sign up for the news. So our suggestion is that you sign up for the news right away so that you start getting those communications from our districts. And then as soon as registration opens, if you want to go ahead and start registration, I know both districts would really appreciate that as well.
Yeah, and if I could just add again, just to reiterate the importance of registering, each, as soon as that February 10th deadline hits, or that day hits, we're already thinking, what is that going to look like? And then we start counting. Oh, we're up to 20, we're up to 30. Each has a cutoff as far as what staffing looks like as well. So if you're unsure about, you're not, I would still register. I mean, it's important to put yourself out there and get your child's kind of in the count, because it's just vitally important when it comes to staffing, and then the support that we'll be able to provide with the numbers that we have coming into us. I guess, and that's really it. I mean, I can't, I'm looking at the screen, I see 2022, 2023. It's just unbelievable. I mean, to think that my career started in the super early 2000s, I guess it was. So it's just crazy to me. So welcome to kindergarten, and we look forward to seeing everyone.
And I would say, if you have specific questions to your child, please feel free to either reach out to Mitch or myself. We're more than happy to walk you through any questions, any concerns you might have. Our emails are listed within the PowerPoint, so please feel free to reach out if you have additional questions.
So thank you very much. Not sure if you can hear me right now, but this is helpful for all parents. If you know someone who was unable to watch, it was recorded and it will be available on the library website. And that will be available to your friends, to people you know. It's really important for everybody to have this information. And I just want to reiterate, kindergarten doesn't know you live in their district. You have to let them know you live where you live. And quite often parents will ask me at the preschool, oh, well, they're going to send me a packet, right? They won't send you a packet till they know you've registered. So it's very important for all of us to stay in communication. And I completely agree with Principal Dubinsky. If you think you might do a gift year, register at preschool. If you think you might go to kindergarten, register for kindergarten. It's easier to take away than add come August. And we're all looking at our staffing, how many teachers we need, what classroom space we need. And you have to remember, the more we know you exist and have a desire, the more we can prepare for you. So. Thank you again to the Glen Ellen Library for doing all of our technology. And if you have not been over there, they have a 1K club, which is for kids and reading 1,000 books. The other thing they have now are play packs, different activity packs. And our library is an excellent resource, and we hope you visit it often, because we're very fortunate to have it in our community.